So digestive systems, medical work, limitary systems, the same. So we have a lot of words specially used for medicine study or medicine systems. So usually people talk about the digestive systems, but truly alimentary systems, the same with digestive systems. So we're still talking about the general function of the digestive system. Compare with respiratory systems, look like even more simple here. So basically, digestive system function mainly is for digestion. But digestion separate with a few parts. The food coming in, go to inside the body, go to the mouth, need broken down from big piece to small pieces. Thus basically belong to physical digestion. This nothing changing. Just from big pieces to small pieces. And then passing through digestion tube or channels, go to our stomach, go to our small intestine, go to our large intestine. In that part, we have some enzymes, have some chemicals like acid in the stomach. Then more digestion happens in there. So that part is chemical digestion. So when we're talking about digestive systems, it should be including two parts. One is physical, one is chemical. Physical, just from big pieces, changing to small pieces. Chemical, thus by some enzymes working, truly changing the food from big kind of food chemical structures to small, simple food chemical structures. We're talking about some detail later. So that's digestion part. For digestion system functions, we have another very important part. Absorptions. Absorptions means any kind of nutrition after digestion, they will go to from our digestive systems and go to our blood or lymph systems circulation, and then go to all of the body for our body uses. So that part from digestive systems to blood systems or to lymph systems go to circulation. Thus we call it absorption. So thus we say digestions and absorptions is the two mainly functions of digestive system. So our digestions is not only digestion for food or absorption for food, also for others like water, like vitamins, like minerals, lot of stuff. And another function of digestive systems can eliminate some waste products. So these kind of waste products mainly coming from the food after absorption, unused part. And also we can relieve some waste products coming from the bile, means coming from the liver. So liver is a big chemical factory. Like we talking about the red blood cell before. Red blood cell living time we still remember, that's 120 days. And they broken down in the liver and certainly in the spleen. So then when they go, so some part we recycling to use, but no used part relieve to the small intestine. And from small intestine to large intestine, from large intestine, and then release to the stool, from the stool to release. So that's generally we say digestive systems and its functions. So digestive systems we can separate with two parts. One part just the channels or tubes or tracts. So that's just the food passing route. It starts from the mouth and ending at anus. It's one way. Yeah, it's one way direction. Food should be passing down from mouth, go down, never return back. If you return back, that's the sick or illness. And finally, unused part, relieve from the arms. So that's the tube part. Another part is the organ part. So food can digest because they have a lot of digestion organs there. So that organ mainly relationship with our chemical digestion, and certainly also relationship with physical digestion because they are moving. So because we have organs and they can producing some digestion juice, including some enzymes, then relieve to the digestion tract. And in there, they help with digestion. So that's if we put to the chart, if we put the digestion systems to a chart here, so like we separate here, upper part is the tube part or channel part. So that's including from the mouth, oral cavity inside the mouth, esophagus, connect the mouth part with the stomach, and then stomach, then small intestine, then large intestine. Certainly our small intestine separated with three parts, but they are connected to each other. So that's our tube part. That's a tube part. Then the organ part. Organ part, we also can call it gland part because the secretion digestion juice. So organ part, we have three bigger ones. One is salivary gland inside the mouth. Totally, we have three in there. Another one is the liver. We put the liver gallbladder together. Gallbladder itself, basically, just like a container. The bile secretion from the liver and then sending to gallbladder to storage in there. And when we need it, like after eating, we need it. Help for digestion fat. We talk about later, fatty tissue. Then they release directly to small intestine. Certainly, salivary gland located inside the mouth and the digestion juice release to the mouth. And the pancreas. We say pancreas is the organ belong to two systems. We talked it before in endocrine systems. They release hormones. Now we're talking about they also belong to digestive systems. Secretion digestion juice and still release to small intestine. So that's the basic picture about our digestive systems. So let's start from digestion tract. Digestion tract mainly is a muscular kind of tube. So it starts from the mouth, and then pharynx, then esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, and finally large intestine. We say that's the one-way food passing the route. And the medical words, we use for digestion tract. Gastro means stomach, and the intestine tract. So that's the mainly part of food passing route in our digestive system. If we look in the picture here, so that just means start from the mouth cavity, the food go in, and then passing through esophagus. Then here is the stomach. And here start from small intestine. And the big part here still belong to small intestine. Small intestine is separated with three parts, but it starts from connected with the stomach here. And the ending here connected with large intestine. Then this part is large intestine. And finally, rectum. So that's a whole digestion tract part. So let's talk about some detail one by one here. We say we start from the mouth. Mouth also we call oral cavity, because mainly inside the mouth is a cavity there. Oral is the medical word for mouth. So that's the beginning part of all digestive systems. And in the mouth, inside the mouth, mainly, we have three functions relationship with digestion. We are now talking about other functions. Certainly people speak, need the mouth, but that belong to our respiration systems, not belong to digestion systems. So digestion systems, mainly we have three functions here. So certainly receive food, and then start from digestion, and prepare food for digestion. What means prepare food for digestion? So like a food we eat, always coming with big pieces. It's not that easily directly digested there. So we use our teeth to cut it to small pieces and then mix with digestion juice. Some of the food, it starts chemical digestion from the mouth. So if we only cut big pieces to small pieces, thus physical digestion happens in the mouth. So in other words, we say food digestion, both physical digestion and chemical digestion, it starts from the mouth. So what chemical digestion start from the mouth? We only have starch kind of food, like a carbohydrate kind of food, sugar kind of food. That kind of food we can digest in the mouth. Others, like protein, like fat, they are not digested. There are no chemical digestion in the mouth. So that's basically our mouth functions. And certainly these functions, especially for physical digestion functions, more close relationship with our teeth. We need to cut the food from big pieces to small pieces. Then we can start digestion. So we know the teeth will changing. So basically, for the children, they will have 20 teeth. They start from like 2 years old. Some people even early, 1.5 years, then teeth coming. And to 6 years old, they have 20 teeth. And after 6 years, their teeth will be changing. So more teeth will be coming. For adults, they will have 32 teeth for whole life. So that's our mouth part. So that's our mouth cavity here. So certainly digestion part, we also need tongue to help. Tongue help to like turning the food and mix food with digestion juice. And after mouth cavity or oral cavity, the food will go to pharynx part. We still remember pharynx belong to both digestion systems and respiration systems. So we say separate with 3 parts: after nose, after mouth, and after larynx. So mainly our food go to the pharynx part, and then they will go to the esophagus. So esophagus located behind the trachea. So this part is the larynx part, and then they connected with respiration tube here. But esophagus just behind it here. Anterior part, we call it trachea. Yeah, trachea is tube longer. And behind it is esophagus. So that's basically the mouth. And then we talk about the tongue. Tongue, we say, still muscles, yeah, muscular organ there. And we say it helps to juice and slavery and mix food with digestion juice, and another some special function on the tongue. So basically on the superficial of the tongue, we have number of special. We put an organ here, but basically it's kind of special cells. Special cells. These kind of special cells is tasty buddies. So that means people can taste it because we have tongue, or we have tasty buddies on the tongue. Then we can taste it for different kind of flavor, like a bitter, sweet, sour, or solid. So we can separate different kind of flavor. So thus we can see from the picture here, we have some bigger one on the root of the tongue, and we have some small one, like all over superficial of the tongue, especially more on the tube part of the tongue. But we still have something on the middle part. So that's basically tongue and the functions. So scientists study. They found basically people can identify different kind of flavor, different part of the tongue. They will be different. Salty and sweet flavor go to frontal part of tongue. So that's the frontal part. That's the back part. And the salty flavor go to side of the tongue. And the bitter go to root of the tongue. Basically, nothing special in the middle part of the tongue, because we don't have many tasty bodies there. So you can try, put a different kind of flavor, go to other part of the tongue to see if you still can taste it or not taste it. Or basically they change into other flavor. So that's basically the picture relationship with our tongue and the different kind of flavor. So that's about mouth. Now we're moving to salivary gland. Salivary glands, it's located inside the mouth. So when food go into the mouth, so it will be mixed with saliva, and then moisten the food, and easily to choosing the food, and easily to swallowing down. So also saliva have some other functions to keep the teeth and the mouth cavity is clean. So basically, because we have saliva, we don't have too much bacteria inside of mouth to grow. And look like scared people. Why? We have bacteria inside the mouth? Yes. Bacteria everywhere, especially in superficial of the body. And the open cavity inside the mouth and inside the nose, we have a lot of bacteria, but they keep the balance there. So usually they are not cause the problems. And especially we will talk about later, or large intestine. We have some bacteria, especially living in large intestine. They can produce vitamins. That's a benefit for us. So not all the bacteria is cause our people illness. It's bad. Still, we have some good bacteria. But if bacteria amount too much, they will cause trouble. They will cause the illness. So thus we have saliva control the amount of the bacteria inside the mouth cavity. And we say saliva mainly is water inside. Certainly, they have some enzymes. So these kind of enzymes basically help digestion. We say changing starch to the sugar. So starch in lot of our food, like rice, like bread. Yeah. So even like inside the potato, yeah, we have lot of food. They contain starch. So our chemical digestion starts from our mouth, starch changing to the sugars. So that's because we have saliva and we have acids inside, especially digestion for the starch. So salivary glands, yes, salivary glands. We have 3 pair of them, yes, 3 pair of them, one on each side. Totally 3 pair on both sides. So these 3 pair of glands, the functions, yeah, functions. We're talking about they're helping digestion, starch to the sugar. Yeah. Their function basically the same, And parotid glands, that's the biggest one in these 3 groups. It is located in front of the ear. So let's go to the next picture here. So that's the bigger one in here. And they open to the mouth cavity, close to the key area. So these gland, yeah, this gland, in children, sometimes they cause some trouble, like some virus infection, can especially infection for this gland, and then cause the gland swollen. Usually in one side, in front of ear, and you can see some children pretty swollen face there. So basically, it's this gland got the infection there, and also caused painful, but it's curable. Yeah, it's curable. I think some children got this trouble and then they cure it. And another 2 gland, yeah, another 2 gland. One is under the tongue. They open under the tongue area. And another one is close to multiple bone area. So that's another gland there. But generally say, these 3 glands functions pretty similar. Yeah, pretty similar. All the gland duct open to the mouth cavity, and all of them secretion digestion juice contains digestion for the starch. So that's these 3 glands and their functions. So in the mouth, we say we have functionally physical digestion and chemical digestion. Then the food, mixed with digestion juice with saliva, and then will be swollen down. Yeah, swollen down. When the food is swollen down, they will go to pharynx, or usually we talk about the salt, yeah, the same in this area. So that's basically like pushing by the tongue, yeah, pushing by the tongue, and then swollen down. So inside of the mouth, yeah, inside the mouth, we have some other structures basically can help pushing the food go down. But when the food go down, go to pharynx area, nothing special happen in there. So we say pharynx, we separate with 3 parts. Behind the nose part, we say nasopharynx. We use this color to mark. And behind the mouth area, we call it oropharynx. Behind the tongue, behind the mouth. We use this color to mark it. And behind the larynx, we call hypopharynx. So that's basically in this area. So food passing, yeah, food passing from the mouth cavity and pushing down by the tongue and swollen, passing the throat area, go to esophagus. So that's the esophagus, the tube here. And certainly we know the air passing mainly go to nose cavity and still passing the same air and go to trachea. And you can see the passing loop like a crossing here. It's something make it wrong, like a food go to trachea or air go to the esophagus. So basically, esophagus is the muscles. If you are not eating anything, 2 sides, there's still a tube here. But if you are not eating, basically, look like they are closed there. Pretty small space there. So usually air not go to esophagus. But when you're eating something swollen, the muscles relaxing or extension there, and they have a hole in there, and then food can pass in. But if the food or drink go to the trachea, that will cause the big trouble. People severe kind of cough because the trachea area should be empty area. Only gas passing, no other things can go in. So that's basically we have pretty important cartilage here. That's we talking about before. It functions look like a one-way door. So that's when it open, the air can go in. But when we're eating, you can see the tongue right above it. When people eating and swollen, will pushing the tongue go to backward. When tongue backward, they will pushing this cartilage go to this way. And finally, they will cover the trachea like this way. And then the food go down to the esophagus. So that's our normal function there. And also that's why sometimes they speak and when they're eating, and by accident, some food occasionally go to the trachea, then they will be cough. So that's basically your body is confusing. What you try to do? You try to speak or you try to eat it. So that's why we say, better when you're eating, when you drink, better not speak. Yeah. Otherwise, maybe your body is confusing and make some food go to trachea, cause the trouble in that area. So that's we say that pharynx area, basically that's just the food passing route. Nothing special in that area. Nothing special in that area. So that's basically we finished the mouth and slurries and the pharynx, the upper part of the digestion tube. Let's talk about the esophagus. Esophagus upper part open to the pharynx. There's still a muscular tube there. It's about 25 centimeters longer. So that's basically the part carry food to the stomach. So esophagus part still nothing specially, whatever for physical digestion or chemical digestion, nothing happened there. Just the food passing way. So how the food passing the esophagus area? So we can see the picture here. The food after mix with digestion juice, it's formed like each time we swollen down, that's form like a ball in there. These kind of food mixing with digestion juice, the ball, we call it a bolus. So it by esophagus muscle contractions and then pushing down the bolus, go down gradually, and finally go to the stomach. So this area is the stomach area. So this kind of movement, happens in the esophagus. Basically, they pushing the bolus go down. So that's we're talking about bolus and the peristalsis. That's the means some muscle contractions happen in there. So that's bolus coming from or swollen. A small part of the food mixed with digestion juice or saliva. Together we call it bolus. And pushing down by the tongue and through the pharynx, and then go to esophagus, and then moving down finally to the stomach. So that's basically happens in the esophagus area. But truly nothing special digestion relationship with the esophagus. Then we go to the stomach. We look like we travel. Yeah, we look like we travel. Go to inside of our body. So some students say that's interesting study. We just like a traveler and we follow the food, go to inside of our body and look at each part of the body and it functions. So now we come into the stomach. So stomach, the first leg, it look like a storage pouch there. So food go to there, food go to there. it mixed each other with still we know inside the stomach we have digestion acid there. And we have a lot of digestion acid there. We have some fluid in there, digestion juice in there. So food go to there, they mix each other, and the stomach still formed by the muscles, by the smooth muscles. And the muscles, they formed. Basically, we have 3 layers of muscles. I think when you learn your anatomy, you will learn we have 3 different direction kind of muscles in stomach area. So certainly, when their direction is different, when their contractions make the movement will be different. So in this way, the food is easily mixed with digestion juice and easily broken down to small pieces also. So that generally happens in the stomach area. So that's the picture of the stomach. That's the upper part. Sometimes we talking about that's the fundal, the fundal part. Similar like uterus, similar like uterus. And then that's the middle part or body part. And you can see inside of stomach, we have 3 different direction kind of smooth muscles there. That's one lens, that's another one, that's another one. So basically, these 3 different kind of these muscles, they contractions and make the stomach moving to different way. It's easily for mix the food with the muscles, with the digestion juice, and easily broken down big pieces to small pieces. So still both physical digestion and chemical digestion happens in the stomach. So that's our stomach area. The mainly things for chemical digestions in the stomach, when we talking about acid. Truly acid is easily to broken down big food to small food, and also can kill most passengers like bacteria and virus. So we couldn't say everything we eat without passenger. Still some food, even we clear it, even we cook it, but they still possible have some passenger like a bacteria or virus in there. But most of them will be killed by the stomach acid. So that's kind of a protection of our bodies. And others, another ones is a special kind of enzyme, specially digestion for protein. So in the stomach, our chemical digestion, especially for protein. We are not digestion for starch in the stomach anymore. That happens in the mouth. If not totally digested, it will go to small intestine, continue to digest in there, but in the stomach area, where chemical digests only the protein, because we only have that kind of digestion enzyme in there. So we know protein for most part of our bodies, especially for muscles. including skeletal muscles, including smooth muscles, and was mainly in the stomach, smooth muscles. So that means it's possible digestion for stomach itself. So basically, when they secretions, they are in inactive kind of form in there. So that's truly, they don't have digestive functions. And they change into active kind of form only like a food go in and stomach acid in there, then they start digestion. So that means it's mainly working for the food, not working for the stomach. And certainly in the superficial of stomach membrane there, we still have special kind of liquid protection there. So we say inside of the stomach cavity, basically we have mucosa membrane. And also in the superficial of the mucosa membrane, we still have some liquid protected of our stomach. So generally say our stomach will not be digested by itself. But if some people irregular eating, we know our body functions is controlled by nervous system mainly, automatic control. Yeah. So that's basically they have clock in there. So like usually people eating 3 times. So that's before you eating or close to you eating that time, your stomach start to secretion, digestion juice and acid. But some people, especially for young people, they are irregular eating, like they eating in different time. So make their nervous systems pretty confusing. They don't know when they will eating, when you stop eating. Like yesterday, you start from 12 p.m. eating for lunch. So next day, they possible like close to 12 p.m. they start to secretion the digestion juice and acid there. Prepare for digestion. But if some people not eating, they waiting until 3 p.m. then they eating things. So what happens? So maybe that digestion juice and acid will damage your mucosa membrane. So that's why some people always have, it's not like only happen one time. It's some people always irregular time eating. They are easily got stomach ulcers or even small intestine ulcers. So because their nervous systems is confusing there. So that's basically about our stomach. Yeah, basically about our stomach. And when food go to the stomach, we say we have more liquid in there, more digestion juice in there, and also including the acid in there. So basically, that kind of liquid mixed with food, digestion juice, and the food there, it's kind of a semi-liquid kind of stuff in there. So this kind of semi-liquid mixed with digestion juice and the food, we give it a name, chemical. This means digestion juice mixed with the food, like half solid, half liquid, and they mix there. So that's the way leaving stomach, and then go to small intestine. Certainly, solid food is not that easy passing our digestive system. So start from our stomach, and then they change into semi-liquid chemical. So that then in this way they pass in small intestine and then go to large intestine. So that's our food travel way. Then we're moving down. We're moving down to small intestine. So small intestine still a tube. Yeah, still a tube. And they still composed by smooth muscles. And in the small intestine, we separated with the three parts. The first part, we call it duodenum. So like we see the picture here. So just this part. So that's the first part. It's a little bit shorter. In Chinese, we call 12指肠. So that means 12 寸 in there, yeah, or 12 fingers longer in there. So it's not that bigger. But it is very, very important part for our digestion. So you can see the picture here. It directly connected with our stomach. So the chemi, with a half liquid, half solid kind of stuff, will coming from stomach directly go to duodenum part. And the bile coming from the liver and the storage in the gallbladder. After we eating, they will relieve to the duodenum, help for digestion. They open in here. And also for the pancreas. Pancreas juice have a lot of digestion as means. So they still open to the duodenum part. Most people, they meeting with the tube coming from the bile, coming from the gallbladder first, and then open together. Truly, some people maybe have some bunches, have second open. So that's basically the first part of small intestine. Look like they receive everything there. So basically in that duodenum part, the wall, they have a lot of grass. And they can secretion big amount of mucus, means some liquid juice. So in this way, they can protect it of small intestine because the chemi coming from the stomach, there are pretty strong acid in there. So neutralize in there, yeah, neutralize in there, and then perform protection functions. And also, small intestine secretions some other enzymes help to digestion. So they can help digestion for protein. We say protein can digest in the stomach, but others not totally digested still go to small intestine, still digested in small intestine. And also, they can digest for carbohydrates. What means carbohydrates? Like we talked about starch before. Yeah. Some starch and sugars. Thus, part of them digested in the mouth, but most part still digested in the small intestine. And we're talking about digestion juice coming from the liver, basically we call it bile. And also digestion juice also can coming from the pancreas. They also go to small intestine and open to the daddy womb. So mix food with digestion food together, and thus the mainly digestion happens in small intestine. So that's we say small intestine mainly functions. One is digestion. Then we talking about the second one, most nutrition absorption in small intestine. So picture here just show us three parts of small intestine. They just use a little bit different color here. So basically, that's the first part, daddy womb. And then that's the second part, junior womb. And the third part, ileum. So basically, they travel from upper and gradually go down. Yeah, from this here and then go down, go this here, and then connected with large intestine. So certainly, anatomy class, you will learn like how longer of the small intestine and what's kind of wall is small intestine there. But generally say for all class, we mainly talking about the functions. So the small intestine is the place for mainly digestive functions and mainly absorption functions. Means after food digestion, they changing like from big pieces to small pieces first. That's basically about physical digestion. Then they changing chemical structures from the bigger chemical structures to smaller chemical structures. Then finally absorption. So absorption part, it happens between the wall of the small intestine and maybe blood vessel, mainly for veins, and maybe between the wall of small intestine with the lymph capillaries. So that means more big superficial area, there are more easily nutrition passing through. So that's why our small intestine, they look like lot of fingers like kind of structure in the small intestine. So that's our small intestine. we just take small pieces from here and get enlarging to this picture. So basically you can see like some finger here. And during this big finger, we still have small finger here. So that's basically increase the superficial air and like the food easily to absorptions. And then we take a small pieces from here and then make it enlarging here, like each of the small finger here. In the center part is blood vessels. Red color here is the artery. Blue color here is the vein. And the green color here is the lymph. So the cells, basically cover the blood vessels and the lymph vessels here. Just the single cells in here. So they still make it large. You take small pieces here. So you can pretty clearly see that's just the single cells in here. And certainly in the center, they have nucleus. So nutritions or the food after digestion, they will passing through from inside the small intestine and then go to blood circulation or maybe go to lymph circulation. So that's basically this part we call absorptions. That's just nutrition, go to blood circulation. So that's our small intestine. That's our small intestine. We are not talking about too detail about different nutrition, how they digest here. Basically later on we have some special part. We talking about the three nutritions mainly, their digestion and their absorption later. So we just got some basic idea about small intestine, what happens in here. So mainly, small intestine, smooth muscles, contractions, and help more for digestion. More mixed digestion juice with the food, and also help to absorption, like some pressure in different parts of small intestine. So that's mainly our small intestine part. So large intestine basically is passing through. So anything nutritious couldn't be digested, could be absorption. Then they passing through. And finally relieve from large intestine. That's our stool coming from. Large intestine, they still have their special functions. Most water is reabsorption in the large intestine. So we know, start from stomach, lot of digestion juice go to stomach, and we call that a chemical, half liquid, half solid, and mix together, and then go to small intestine. We still have lot of digestion juice mixed with food in small intestine. If all that kind of liquid relieves, that's truly people losing lot of body fluid. So what happens when that kind of liquid mixed with food go to large intestine, and the most part of the water reabsorptions. When we talk about reabsorption, we are not use absorption. Absorption means like the liquid or food you directly coming from the eating. But reabsorptions here just means that's mostly that's water coming from our digestion systems, coming from digestion juice, the secretion to the digestion system, and then the reabsorption. So in this way, prevent dehydration. Otherwise, people losing too much water. And other functions, large intestine, storage and eliminations, some undigested waste products. So that's mainly function in the large intestine. And also, like we talked about before, we generally say we don't have bacteria in stomach. Usually no bacteria living in the small intestine. But truly we have bacteria normally living in the colon part, that's the large intestine. These kind of bacteria, they can produce vitamin K and some of the vitamins, vitamin complex. So that's truly help with the people. So that's another function we talking about for large intestine. So large intestine, we say we can separate with a few parts. Ascending part, basically they travel, they connected the small intestine in here, and then they travel ascending. So that's ascending large intestine or ascending colon. And then they transverse, transverse. That's the right side of the body. Basically look like a way with patients face to face. Our left side is the patient's right side. That's left side of the patient here. So large intestine is ascending from right side of the body, and then under the liver, so right side above here is the liver. And under the liver, they turn to left side. That's the transverse part of large intestine. And then close to spleen area. So basically under the spleen and the stomach. Then they turn down. So that's from our descending part of large intestine. Then they will go to from left side, go to two angle here, look like X here. Look like an X here. So that's we name it Scheduled colon. Just means look like a X here. Then the last part is our rectum. So basically that's our large intestine. That's our large intestine. So in large intestine, so we still have mucus there, means still secretion, some liquids there, but basically no enzyme inside. So that means they don't have special digestive food function, especially for chemical digestion. and still smooth muscle in their 门垒 but 出垒 on the ending part we have some muscle can control. So that's why like people eating, like each time they eating, mostly eating 3 times a day, but normally people just got for movement once or maybe twice normally. So that's because they can store it mainly in large intestine and then go to special kind of time, then they release. So basically they form the solid waste products. That's we call stool. So we say most water reabsorption in the large intestine. And then that's finally no use part. It is released. So that's mainly about the large intestine. We say normally bacteria can live in the large intestine and keep some balance in there. That's normal situation. So what will be happens if some people, for example, they got bacterial infections, like some people got lung infection, severe kind of lung infection like pneumonia. We need to use antibiotics to kill the bacteria in the lung. But sometimes, like antibiotics, we are not able to only kill special kind of bacteria. We may can kill a group of the bacteria. So that's possible kill the bacteria in the large intestine also. So in that kind of case, in that kind of case, so bacteria in large intestine losing the balance. Some bacteria is be killed, another bacteria is not killed. They grow too faster, and also fungus. Also fungus. So usually people use antibiotics for a long term. It's pretty easily cause the fungus infection. So basically, normally they will keep the balance. So that's we say happens in the large intestine.